Welcome back, all you badasses, all you people that are out to make some changes. Oh, the cavalry. Because the cavalry ain't coming, you're it. That's it. So, welcome back to another opportunity for growth. This is the Maturity Project. I'm your host, Chad Everett Broshears. Today's conversation is being a person of purpose. I have never met somebody that isn't seeking some sort of purpose in their life, something to give them value to what they're doing. Like, they're alive, man. What are they up to? And then I've met so many people that as soon as they found that stride, they just took off. It was the thing that they found their purpose, and their purpose didn't come with the complaint of, I have to do this, then I have to do that, then I'll be free. Or, I just got to get through this thing, and then you got me. Or, God, it's another day at the office. Or I just want to make more money. It's the have tos and all of that. When every person I've ever met that has that's just synchronized with their purpose, they don't have it. It isn't something that is the dread that they have during their day, or during their week, or during their month, or their year, or whatever. The only association with upset or dread is just not having the stride of success yet. But the actions of what they're doing when they're sitting, when they're with their purpose, they're just, man, they're synchronized. You know, um, there's a guy that comes to mind that owns a company called Oxygen, that is a group fitness company in South Florida. Oh, really nice guy, very intelligent, and he's just in his stride, man. He is in his purpose. He's got an Orange Theory next door to him, which is his competition, because it's group fitness based in that. Which, for you that don't know what I do professionally, not only do I do this, but in the business side of it, I also fix gyms. I'll go into fitness centers, general purpose, um, just you know, box gyms, but privately owned. I go in and I help them become profitable and put in the systems that make it, flourish on a cultural level. Obviously, that makes the gym itself flourish on all levels. So, or all is requires a holistic approach to it all. But this gentleman, solid, competition, very well structured and strategized company in his competition. Orange Theory is an incredibly well structured company in the industry. They are definitely not slouches. They're very good at gaining market value, especially when a new one goes into a location. And he's just he's thriving in that. So he's impressive. He's in his stride. I've met a lot of people that are in that. They just get to that place. What I find is always fascinating is that, even when people are very purposeful, what murders their purpose, if you will, or just really seems to take away from it or can sabotage it, is the other areas of maturity that get neglected. So, purpose is the eighth area of maturity, it's spirituality. I combine the two for very good reason. But in the structure of the maturity project, purpose and spirituality is, if you get your purpose to a point that it is a spiritual practice to you, you're unstoppable. You may not have the direct money and monetary results right now, or whatever the result might be lacking, but you are gaining access to that because you're unstoppable. You're going to get there. It's just the question is when, not if. You're going to get there. So to find that thing that truly enlivens you, what enlivens me is the maturity project. It encompasses every aspect of our life. I just have access to something that other people haven't put together now, and I have a way of teaching and a way of experiencing things that really just drive me. So this is it. This is my life's work, the maturity project. Uh, and I'm not going to stop. I'm going to do everything in any direction that I possibly can to make this thing, bring it to life for a lot of other people. I met with my friend earlier, my marketing. And he's a, I guess you can say he's also an employee of the company. Yeah, he's my marketing guy and friend, and we talked. And he is, I see so much in him, and he is aligned with my purpose because he's also driven for the maturity project. He wants Central America, though. That's where he wants to really make an impact because he's from Honduras. Great guy, great heart, really is driven. And you can just see he's he's accessing something that really brings his life to life, brings his life to life. It's enlivened. Very impassioned person. Uh, I'm so incredibly grateful for his presence in this, and also just to know another human being that's alive. That's really driven to do something. So it's a fascinating thing because if you want to qualify the fulfillment in life, you got to understand the 8 different areas of maturity and what that does and how you can control a more fulfilling experience in life. So it is my purpose to drive that so that other people have less chaos in their life and they don't need to take from as many people. And we're creating fewer narcissists and or the antisocial personality disorders in life. That you'll have your genetic ones, they're out there, but it is directly out to help with the people that are conditioned, nurtured into becoming that. Because we all look at how we can make success in life, and we do everything we can to recreate that so that we have what we call success and fulfillment. It doesn't mean that it's actually the greater scheme of things when it comes to success. A lot of us learn success models when they're incredibly local, meaning, that there's very few people that are truly influenced by it. And you may get your way with those few people, and you make up your mind that that's how success is done. And then when it gets out of that local model and it goes into something larger, you find that it's not as effective, and it frustrates and stresses you, and you just don't seem to really find that much value in it, or you get angry or upset that that model doesn't work outside of the local standing, which increases your stress. And the more stress that you're dealing with, the more likely you are to start looking for the pathways or the passages of least resistance. And those passages of least resistance often are laid with a lot of vice, not a lot of virtue. Oh, it's just, what's the easiest way to get there, man? That's what I want. Get rich quick. It's why most of the time it fails, but whoever's preaching and putting out the system to become rich quick are the ones that typically win, which is more like a multi-level marketing structure than it is anything else. I'm not an advocate for those either, by the way. Pyramid schemes, all the rest of it, they're all the same thing, reinvented multiple different ways. What's really beneficial is that we create something that holistically supports everybody, but you cannot do anything for other people. The best you can do is provide a service or a product or inspire. And the service could be inspiration. My goal is to inspire people. That's it. I really, I do this with a pure heart, as pure of a heart as I can have at this moment. There are definitely things in my foundation that I'm working on that need to be addressed. They are weaknesses for me. I'm aware of them, and I'm working on them, and I'm digging up every piece of those that have association with root values into my foundation. And that's going to, obviously help me restructure reality to the level of what I've experienced, so that when I facilitate the bigger picture and the bigger scheme of things when it comes to my purpose, it will be facilitated with a fully and completely, pure heart, and with the best intentions for everybody, not just me. So I likened something earlier today with it's a Lamborghini or Ferrari example, and that is this real interesting and relentless pursuit that we have developing specific skill sets. A lot of times it's something that has a very shiny uh, prize at the end, and that prize could be, being more attractive to other people or money or whatever. It could be better social standings. It is a lot of stuff that you could have that are, you know, set up for that, so you could have spend a lot of time in developing yourself to be more appealing to the opposite sex. Well, then you become more appealing to the opposite sex. Not always just the way you look, it's also the way you behave. Charisma, right? It's their charm that gets you there. It's not a bad thing to have the Ferrari or the Lamborghini. It's just understand how practical it is for every aspect of your life. So if you develop yourself to be more attractive and appealing to other people, don't let your strength become your weakness. If that's the case, you get there and you get to have that, and you know what it's like, to have the Ferrari or the Lamborghini. But then you have all the other aspects of life. They're not great to take you to the grocery store, right? To get a full, the house, all your groceries you need for the week. Well, yeah, even now with this current economy, still doesn't matter. If you got your full, week's worth of groceries, it's not as easy to transport it back and forth in the Lamborghini or the Ferrari, especially if you got to throw some kids in the car. you know, car seats and all the rest of the stuff. They're not, it's not a practical vehicle for any of that. So there's other parts of your life that you need to attend to. It's nice to get there. It's nice to have it, but don't leverage it to the point that it makes everything else inconsequential, right? You don't want to make yourself be that person that's only that in life. Although there's a lot of people that tell you, especially in the social influencer world, be one thing and be the best at it. And sure, that's great. But at the same time, what misery grows with the areas of neglect? Everything about you, if you neglect it, you're going to have challenges that come out of it. And then it actually starts to become a multiplier against you when you do get to that point and you say, you know what, I'm incredibly good at this one thing. And people are like, okay, well, if you're really good at, let's say, community, right? And in the community area of maturity, let's say one of the higher levels of development in community is becoming a politician or elected official, because you require a very, very strong maturity in that, or a strong community of you have to have a strong degree of influence to hit the community in order to put you into office. Then you hear all the scandals, and it happens all the damn time. The scandals, campaign finance, you've got sexual allegations or misconduct, you've got ill behavior, so drinking and driving, or drug possession, or extramarital affairs, or you name it, right? They've got all of these things that are out there, accusations of things that just if be true, then you've got a really strong and hard reality to deal with, because that can take you out of office because of the scandal. And the likelihood of you ever get elected again is probably not likely going to happen if you've been removed from office or you've had to resign because of some sort of allegation. There's not a real forgiving redemption arc when it comes to being that high in that area of maturity and getting to the point, if your community does elect you to put you in office, the trust they have for you to do what you're elected for, and then a scandal comes in and undermines your trust and reduces your predictability, then you're likely out and you likely will never get back in. Doesn't mean some of your skills aren't transferable, but it really does suck to have accomplished something and you've become so good at something and then you're not able to do that anymore. It's something that'll haunt you, because then you're like, damn it, if I could just get elected again, that'd be good. But it's not cheap to run for office, and it does put a lot of your life on the line. And they fine tooth comb you at times, and a lot of stuff, and your enemies are just out to make you look bad, not necessarily tell the truth. But if there's any modicum of truth in what they're saying, it could look like everything they're saying is true and everything you're saying is a lie. It's a pretty nasty world. But if you're well balanced, then you're going to be in a better spot. But anyway, so as far as the maturity and community, you can become incredibly mature there, but then not be so mature in sexuality or in your finance or whatever. And when the opportunities show up, you are far more susceptible to taking the bait, if you will, especially if it's an enemy that's actually proposing this option for you. You don't know it. Say they hire somebody to come and take you on a date, or to go on a date with you, and to present opportunities, and then next thing you know, they got the evidence they wanted to get you out. Perhaps it is that you may have financial immaturity and somebody comes up and says, hey, if you do this and betray your constituents, then we will give you a seat in this company and you'll have this much money when you finish office, your term in office. Well, you may not be found out for that, but you know the truth. And if you started off with a good heart and then you became corrupt, it's something that'll haunt you, and you'll have a success model there that you'll expect to continue to be successful, but you're losing something. You're losing quite a bit, actually. Your integrity is gone, and other parts of your life will start to suffer. It's like telling everybody to believe that you're honest, but you'll only lie to the people that elected you. But please, honey, you're my wife. I believe me that I'm always going to tell you the truth. And it turns out, how is that person ever going to really truly believe you? It's things like that that really do come as a sacrifice, because you've made a deal with the devil, if you will. So you can do it, you can have it all, but you're just not likely going to have it all tomorrow. You just have to work for it. If you don't understand what your purpose is, hey, I was when the maturity project before this, it wasn't called that. It was just the 8 areas of maturity, and then it became ascending to total maturity. And I used this channel, which was previously called Growing Up in the Wilds of Suburbia, as a way of just getting this information out in another way to try to support people, to give them insight so that they can see that life can be different. And it's, they can be the ones that have say so in how different life is. And then it grew into this. It's a process, man, and it didn't even really. I knew that this really was a big thing for me. I knew this was something that was. It was a calling, but I did not. I let other things restrict me from seeing this as a purpose, or that this is my purpose in life. It took a lot to get to this point. And I wasn't until it was after I was 40 by the time I realized this is it. This is my purpose. I've talked about it with people, and some of the most intelligent people I've ever met. Um, One, it was Leah, which is an ex of mine, but also a great friend. And we talked about it, and she was so enlivened with this conversation. She's like, this is something that's needed. It's needed all over the world. Humanity needs this. And it really, somebody else said back to me what I wasn't saying, but I thought. No, and it really hit me. This is it. This is it for me. So you don't have to have a big goal. It does not need to be, do something for humanity at this level. It can simply be, I want to raise a really solid, strong family. Okay, well, what tenets are that for you? What exactly are the attributes of a strong, successful family? And then we start developing the training model necessary in order to accomplish that goal. If you want to be better at money and finance, okay, well, making money or investing money or both. I know if you're investing money, you can make money, which kind of is more of the true definition of making money, because when you work for it, you're earning it. Whenever you invest it in something, you're making it. It's being manifested. It's not your time there, but it is your resource that is able to generate more. So there's a lot when it comes to finance and with maturity, right? Exactly of what means is it that you want to accomplish what you want to accomplish, how much money is enough, or with the qualifier that says you've accomplished it. There's a lot that goes into that. Then the functionality of that amount of money, what are you doing with it? It's like really set out some plans, but it is setting it out in a way that you are not only doing it for yourself in a family situation, you're wanting to create, or you are creating, a generational education that helps money become something that the family is familiar with, understands it, and has a head start in the maturity aspects of finance compared to other families. It's not to win or beat other families, it's just where other people's baselines are. So you set that out, you say it. If your purpose is to be a fitness influencer, okay, well, great. There's a lot of conversations to have. As I set up my office, I do want to go into a purpose podcast, really, and to use the 8 areas of maturity to help facilitate a deeper understanding of everything, or at least create a section to this show that has more purpose involvement, specifically, and focusing on that, or different segments. Yeah, 8 different areas. Well, if it's a segment for all of them, we'll see how this kind of like turns out. But the thing is that do something that you're so enlivened to do that other people find it infectious and energetic. It energizes them. You're aligning yourself with a purpose if whenever you do share it with other people, they seem like they get energized. So, but create it, man. You don't. My thing is, look, other people have theirs. We do not reward copycats very well. On average, what we do is we'll give imitators their own thing, like Elvis impersonators, whatever, and then we give them their own ranking and reward system, and we give them praise for the fact that they're the most like Elvis that we've experienced or witnessed, or something unique about them that makes them stand out, things like that. But ultimately, everyone's impersonating a person instead of being themselves. The great thing about it is, look, if you're going to practice that, cool, it can be a hobby thing, but I'm not one that's going to advocate for that being your life purpose, because look, Elvis did it already. We don't need you to have a life purpose of being Elvis. Our species is really better off that we move forward and not try to do what somebody else has already done, unless it's to build into and make it better. But you're not going to make a better Elvis. You'd have to become something different. It could have Elvis accent, if you will, or specific values that people are like, damn, Elvis is awesome. But you know what? This guy's so much like him, or this girl's so much like Elvis, so many different scenarios and similarities. Maybe it's just a new person. but it's actually you're doing your own thing. You're not just going around singing all the songs that he sang. You're singing something else. You created something new. And you use them as a baseline, but your purpose is now, yeah, it's entertainment, it's inspiration, and speaking to people through music, whatever. That is more purposeful versus the hobby values of being an impersonator. So as far as just to create some clarity for that too, if you don't feel it yet, subscribe to this channel. It's a great place to at least get started on it. As far as if you don't feel your purpose, then use it. Use this channel for inspiration. Put a comment in the comment section. If you already know your purpose, comment on it. If you need something else, man, it's just my thing is this. Let's find what works, right? And sometimes you try something on and it's not quite right, but it feels close. Okay, you're not directly over target, but you're somewhere within the vicinity of the target. Action will always produce some results. And it doesn't mean that what's wrong today is always wrong, as far as like, you missed your mark, you were unsuccessful, whatever. Just because you didn't make it today or you weren't successful today doesn't mean that this thing isn't right, that it's not right for you. It's a whole nother opportunity. You just have to start doing something so you can start sifting it out, like a gold miner, right? You're out there and you're working in the river and you're trying to find some gold out of the river and you're panning it. You just get a bunch of stuff into your pan and you get hopeful that you're going to find a nugget, right? You're going to find some gold remnants or something. You're going to find some gold, and you find some fool's gold. You get excited about it. You're like, damn it, yes, this is it. And then you realize, not quite. It's you keep going. Eventually you're going to find something. You will. Now, will that thing you find be worth all that work? Well, if you stop once you find it and you don't do anything else, I'd say probably not. But if you continue on and you keep on panning, you're going to find the thing that fits you the best. You just got to keep doing it. Other parts of it are, when you talk to other people, other people can give you some insights. It's not always what you feel like your purpose is or what you're meant to do or your destiny or whatever is based off of exactly what your strongest skill trait is. But, it very well might be, but it doesn't guarantee it. Just because you have a significant degree to communicate does not mean that your purpose is in communication. It's just you're able to communicate what your purpose is, and you're effective at it. But it feels like maybe communication's it. But you have to have a subject that you want to communicate. So that's really the point of today in this conversation, is creating a fulfilling experience in life and being purpose driven, because you'll find that life changes whenever that's your center focus. If you don't have it yet, you can even write down, what is my purpose, and put it on your mirror. And then every morning, try on one idea. Just one idea. Try it on every single morning. If you don't read already, I would definitely say, and I mean like read books, not magazines, or I read subtitles on movies, or, the back of the cereal box, or, a post on Facebook or some other social media when I'm on the toilet. I don't mean that. I mean like legitimately, intentionally reading something to develop yourself. That's the intelligence side of the maturity project, which is the third area. Intelligence or cognitive, that's an area of maturity. You're spending a little time investing in it. You keep doing that, which I do 6 pages a day. That's my goal every day. Read 6 pages of something. 6 pages of a book of an area that's relevant to what I'm up to. That's it. 6 pages. It's not a heavy commitment. It's enough of a commitment, but it does give me something. And every day it expands my mind a little bit. And it also puts an anchor on my thinking enough that I can stay in that world a little longer than if I didn't do it. It would be however long I can hold my focus on it. Now I've got a reason to hold my focus on it. So spend some time reading. Give yourself, don't have I really advocate against a large quota. I wouldn't say go too far. You want to get far enough into your daily discipline that makes you feel like you're stretching just a little bit, but not too much. I chose 6 pages because I used to read a lot on a daily basis when I had a lot more time available to me and a lot more alone time. And I'd read chapters every day, just multiple chapters of the areas that I was interested in. And then when I was not able to read, I had something on a video or a podcast or something that was very specific to that, when I was, driving or riding my bike or doing something, I wasn't able to actually have my book in front of me. And it was just very driven for building myself and creating the maturity aspects and cognitive and, and the intelligence side of things. So I spent a lot of time on that. And then I stopped a while ago on a regular basis. I continued to listen and watch videos, but I wasn't reading as much. And my endurance for reading, see, like really dropped off to the point that a page started to feel like an exercise. 4 pages was really starting to push it, and then 5 pages was the like, okay, I'm starting to phase out here. I'm starting to lose what I'm reading because I fatigue too much and I'm distracted. I'm thinking about too many other things or whatever. Or I'm just tired. So, like, okay, I need to get to the point that I have that the same as exercise. It's the last couple of reps that make the biggest difference. So I started to go, okay, well, if it's 5 pages, I'm going to hit 5 pages on a daily basis. And then once I feel that I'm not getting quite as fatigued by the fifth page, I'll add the sixth. I've stuck at six now just because of the time restraints to everything else. Raising my son and handling and working through my relationships and everything else that I have going on, plus my business and this, it's got its own time requirements. So I don't have as much as I'd like to have, and I will change that as things change. As I get more privileged to have more time for that, I will do it, increase it, but I'll always increase it just enough so I'm not overdoing it, so that it doesn't turn into too much of a chore or even possibly a punishment. So it stays consistent in the way of being more desirable and functional. So, with that, pick something, read, make it a daily task, a daily requirement, something. It doesn't have to be a high level. If you're not familiar with reading, pick 1 page a day, just one, and then build from there. It's the same whenever I decided education was going to be such a heavy passion of mine, and learning, especially because I did not do as well in public education. From middle school into high school, I did kind of poorly because I wasn't engaged and I wasn't that inspired overall. So I just did what I could, and I lived my life that way until I got into, and just did the minimum until I was somewhere in I was actually in my mid 20s. And I read Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad Poor Dad, and he writes in such a way that it makes it so easy to really go through the material and to retain it. I synchronize really well with the way he writes, and I read the whole book within a relatively short period of time. I want to say it was less than a week, and I had not read a book or anything other than magazines for like muscle magazines, fitness magazines, stuff like that. But an actual book, I hadn't read anything since high school. It just stopped. Other than manuals and things, that's for work related, and it's not for any real interest other than criteria for the job. So that was it, and it was more of a punishment reading, if you would, at times. So I switched it and started reading for pleasure and reading for more of a purpose, and it really turned into something great. In the beginning, I gave myself, when I first switched over into my first company outside of, well, no, it wasn't my first company. It was the second company filed with the IRS, and that was in my later 20s. And I was like, hey, I got a lot I need to know in this, and I've got to have a lot of drive and passion to learn this stuff. So I gave myself in the very beginning a very minuscule, a small amount of time to learn. It was like 1 hour a day to go through something educational. And then, the rest of the day was whatever I wanted to be. So I had 23 hours to spend, the time that I spent sleeping, and I had the remainder of whatever I wanted to do with it. And that was a very short period of time. It went from 1 hour to 3 hours. And then after 3 hours, it turned into 8. And then from 8, it turned into, I want to say it was pretty much the entirety of my waking hours. I was learning something. I only gave myself, at one point in time, I was only giving myself 30 minutes of just entertainment. And then it just turned into whatever the entertainment is. I was actually looking at behaviors and all the rest of this. I'm like, this is not just entertainment, it's learning. So no longer am I just turning my brain off. I don't turn it off. I don't at all anymore. But I remember back in the day, it was like you just turn it off and let them take you through the story, the movie or whatever. Yeah. Needless to say, I'm kind of one of the worst people to watch a movie with, especially if it's movies suspending reality or violating physics or something like that, or there's logic issues or story plot stuff like that. It's yeah. I can be fun to watch those with, if you enjoy commentary. Unless it's preface in the beginning, it's just let's just watch it, don't say anything. But anyway, um, yeah. But you'll find your purpose. Just keep going, man. Why not? What else are you gonna do? Seriously, it's like, what else are we gonna do? you know, I I'll share this with you, and then I'll end the episode here. But when I was sitting with Ed, and he and I were talking about some of the other influence out there, looking at what kind of like, so that I help him get a better understanding of this, and I get a better understanding of his viewpoints on the marketing side. And he showed me a gentleman, his channel and his material, and then he told me how much he had paid to work with this guy and get into his training and all of that. And this guy he's a dating coach for men, and he talks about a lot of things that have to do with it's the maturity in sexualities that he's talking about, but it is a facet of sexuality. It's not the entirety of it. So it's how do you please a woman, and 3 ways to engage a woman from these different ways, or these different sexual positions, things like that. And I'm like, okay, I'm not against the guy's teachings. It's his model, and it's he's going to influence people that he influences. And I'm like, well, that's one of my strongest areas. Maturity is actually sexuality, and it's really interesting to me to see somebody else who has found their purpose and how they really express themselves, and how that I can see those kind of conversations with specific people. If I were to create a really advanced, and it's very likely I'll do this and almost guarantee, create a really advanced, areas of maturity that is like the real high end stuff for people that are really far down the training and development side of it, where they really just want to get into some real deep stuff. I may actually go that route to create something that I'm speaking in that way, but with a lot more purpose in the integration of all 8 areas of maturity, not just the one, but to be, he gets pretty explicit, and I obviously wouldn't use the same kind of language, things like that, but still be able to cover the same things. Because sexuality is it's one of the fastest ways to really, really lose your relationship. One, infidelity on either side. The other is starve your partner. If you don't have the degree of maturity for your partner to truly feel that you're nourishing that person, then they can stray, or you can stray. It's a process. If you want a better relationship, and the first thing that I talk to people when it's a relationship conversation is, what are you doing to nourish a relationship? What kind of communication do you do? It's like there's things that are the base levels that really, it's like, yeah, well, we got caught up with work. We got caught up with raising a family. We got caught up with whatever it is. And I'm like, okay, well, these are the base level things. I am writing a education for relationships. I've mentioned it in a couple of videos now, and it's definitely coming to life pretty quickly here. That has to do with the different types of relationships, if it's friends with benefits, or casual, or a long-term relationship, or a power couple. It is exactly what those things are, and it is, how do you make yours? Because it's all it is like, these are the categories that you work from. Now we need to customize it, but you're the one that customizes it, and you bring that degree of success to it. Part of that is what do you need to nourish that relationship? You need to nourish yourself, and then you need to nourish a relationship. If you both have decided that a monogamous relationship is what the two of you want, you and your partner, whether it's your spouse, or if it's somebody you're dating, or whatever it is, you've made the declaration. Well, you need to nourish that relationship, but you need to understand exactly what nourishment is. What exactly is nourishment? What does it require to feed and to care for that relationship, so that it can grow, and it can have its own degrees of success, and to turn into something meaningful, from just being something that's keeping you from boredom, or being alone, or hoping that the other person is able to support you in certain parts of your life that you're inadequate or underdeveloped in. Relationships of need suck. The relationships of want are more fun. If you need somebody in your life, that kind of sucks. If you have somebody you want in your life, well, you don't need them. You can leave if you want, but it's because you're there because you want to be with them, not because you need to be with them, because if you left them then your bills would fall apart and you'd get hounded by your creditors or whatever, or you'd have to deal with, the real you that sits in silence waiting for you to be quiet so it can talk to you. Oh, there's a lot of interesting ways that we do these things, but it's always a goal to try to create the most beneficial, rewarding, and fulfilling experiences. So keep an eye out for that. It is coming. I've actually put a pretty decent amount of work into it, and it will be something that I plan to have it available by the 12th of October, which is my birthday. So I plan to have it available by then. Yeah. So, and I'll do some, videos on it just as overall introductions, and then later on there'll be some more things like conference calls to be supportive of the different courses that I have and the different education pieces that people are participating in. So all of that's coming, but again, it relates back to purpose. It helps me facilitate and find satisfaction that, hey, I'm alive, and other people are benefiting from the fact that I'm alive. So, yeah. All right. Well, that's it for today. Let's figure out how to nourish you, and then figure out how we can nourish these other relationships that you have, and to give you that depth of really being able to make a difference in your life. Let's make something meaningful. You know, you've been hurt in relationships, great. If you don't feel that it's great, this is the channel for you, because we're going to take that, turn it into the soil. It's going to turn the soil, baby, and take those past experiences and make them a fertile ground to grow something great, meaningful, and desirable out of it. So with that being said, thank you for joining me today. Share this video with a person in your life you really want to make a meaningful conversation with. If you want to start something meaningful, you need to start. Okay? It's not one to wait. Because if you wait, you're going to procrastinate. And procrastination is taking some of the best intentions to the grave with people. Let's not do that. All right? All right. So share this video with them. Get it started. Make something meaningful. Now, like the video. Help with the algorithm. Go to comment in the comments section. That helps the community show that you're here. Show that you have something to say and that you're up to something. If you've got a purpose already, you can put it in the comment section. If you don't have a purpose yet, that's okay. You can also put that down there. I'm still looking for it. You can put down things that you enjoy doing, but may not necessarily be your purpose yet, but at least it might be an access point. Let's create something beautiful, man. Let's create something amazing. Path to Hell has paid the good intentions. We're not taking this train to that level, man. We are not going there. We're creating something great with this. So, with that being said, this is the Maturity Project. I am your host, Chad Everett Broshears. Don't forget, just because you've had failures in the past, just because you've had some shitty experiences, doesn't mean we can't turn that into some beautiful soil to grow the amazing future that you can have. All right, let's get to it. Let's get on some purpose, shall we? Let's get to it together. All right, we'll see you.